I've got back from my surgery and I finished this book while I was waiting for it to happen. I read this in 5 hours. Do I recommend it? Bloody hell do I. It's amazing. Here's the blurb. So basically 30 years ago, the first female police officer for the Pendle area arrested a man who admitted to the murders of 3 kids by burying them in coffins. And he dies and she goes back to his funeral. And then things go on and all sorts of new stuff comes about. There is supernatural elements, but it is so well written that it doesn't detract from the story. And I highly recommend this book. Please give it a read. In fact, I'm going to read some of our other stuff. This book was that good. Excuse my voice, I have another cold. Thank you, 2022. So this book is 13 Stories by Jonathan Sims, who is the writer of the Magnus Archives, I believe, or one of the writers in the Magnus Archive. It is, literally, as the title suggests, a book of 13 short stories that all interconnect and link, with a couple of final chapters at the end that bind the whole thing together. You even know at the beginning of this what it's about. Tobias Fell, I believe his name is. Yes, was murdered. And this is the story, the 13 stories of how his murder came about. It is supernatural, it is a horror, and I read this in like 4 days while on my lunch break. So I really recommend it. We're back with this bullshit because I've been listening to this non-stop. We're on this chapter now with this time. I've realised that the reason that Han ends up with so many people because of this book is not because Han is a good guy that just picks up rogues. It's Chewie just has a soft spot for every idiot humanoid species that he runs across. Having watched the Solo film and now listened and read the Death Trooper book, Chewie just says, "This human's sad. I am going to own him." And I don't think that the fandom realizes how much of a soft, squishy thing Chewie actually is. And I now love him.
It's dire. Please help me out. Show me your last 3-star read. Show me your last 4-star read. Your last 5-star read. Your current read. And finally, your next read.
It's horror book time on book review sessions. I actually quite enjoyed this book, but obviously this is a Clive Barker book. If you don't like things like Sexual Assault or anything like that, then this probably is not the book for you, because that scene was a bit iffy. So yeah, trigger warning for that. However, I did really enjoy this book. It gives a unique version of hell that is Clive Barker's own, and Pinhead is a serious villain, which I never quite really found in the actual Hellraiser films. So yes, this book is really good. I recommend it. Oh, give it a read. Surprisingly, here is a book review of a book that I didn't finish. Now this is going to actually be really surprising because I really like spiritualism and all that kind of thing, you know, being a witch. But I did not enjoy this book. It's supposed to be about female empowerment because basically the woman in this is like a mentalist and she messes with the main character's mind. The main character is a doctor at a mental asylum. She tricks him into helping her escape, and then they fall in love, and she then hypnotizes him into believing that her servant is her. And she gets them both interred in the mental asylum again. It's a huge twist, but I had to cut it in half and read it again. I did not like this book. It is so weirdly written, and I didn't like it. I didn't finish it, so So this is another one of my favourite RPG games, Big Eyes Smallmouth, based on anime systems. But the really cool thing about this one is it is a highly customizable game. So you can create skills. It has how to create skills. It has how to create abilities. You've got mech abilities if you're playing sci-fi, magic abilities if you're playing fantasy, how to go about creating levels so that you can create your own magical spells, all sorts of stuff like that. So this isn't actually a single system, I suppose. It is a huge system, and it's a really cool way to create your own homebrew system. And a lot of the anime RPGs that were out and about there in the 90s and early 2000s are based off this. I did have Tenchi Muyo at one point. I do not. I have never played it, but this version is amazing. I highly recommend it. Okay guys, it's book time. This is the second book in the series, Scarlet by Marissa Mayer. It is the Lunar Chronicles. First one was amazing. I bought this one immediately after reading the first one. Absolutely loved it. Really love Scarlet. She's kick-ass. I recommend you read this. Next, for the tabletop roleplay, we have The World of Darkness. I'm going to do a video for this one and for this one, as these are only 2 books in, I think, the 4 or 5 part series. So you have Vampire, the series, there's quite a few of these. You have Changeling, again, quite a few of these. You have Hunter, you have Wraith, and you have Werewolf. Now, this is the first tabletop game that I ever got involved in. This one specifically, this book is falling apart. I love it. It's a really simple system. They don't mesh well together until you get the basic core book that is available, and I don't think that White Wolf do these anymore. I think they've been resurfaced, but I do, hello Growler, really like these, no Growler, as they are quite fun and easy to pick up, and it's not that difficult to understand what you're doing, and it's very easy to customize to a different type of roleplay game as well. Growler says hi. Book review time. I'm losing my voice. However, this is a really, really good book. If you are vegan or like particularly macabre writing, you will love this book. The idea is this is set in a post-apocalyptic future where meat is the most important produce because the land will not sustain vegetables. However, the meat is not what you think it is, and this follows a man that works in the meat factory and how he deals with it, and then how he deals with the resulting revolution. I will say this, there are scenes of sexual assault, murder, and other graphic things, so this is a very disconcerting book, but it is so good, and I really, really do recommend it.